Welcome to 3AI's panel discussion on driving business impact and measurement of ROIs from AI. It's a well-known fact that AI applications are spreading across a large number of sectors, whether that's IT, financial services, retail, media, manufacturing, you name it. What's also happening is AI applications are spreading across a number of functions, for example, marketing, finance, operations, customer service, and even research. But today we'll focus on a slightly different question. We'll ask the question, how do we know what's the business impact from these applications that are being created, and how can we understand the ROI from the various investments being made in this area? This will help businesses make more objective and more thoughtful choices on what they should be going after, rather than actually get caught up in a rat race, which sometimes is the case. And this rat race obviously leads to suboptimal outcomes, and you think you've lost your time with whether you've chosen the wrong topic or you've not been able to fully utilize this wave of innovation. So this question is not really new. I've been in the industry for more than 2 decades. My name is Alapon. I've been in dunnhumby for the last 10 years, and before that, I've been working in Target since 2014 in the retail space. Spent several years before that in consulting, looking at a number of sectors. And over all these years, there have been these questions asked by various businesses and CFOs. What is the value that AI or data analytics or automation is actually generating? How should I spend, or why should I spend that extra million in the next tech stack or the team? So unfortunately, there's no quick way to get to this answer, but I'm really excited that joining me today is a very distinguished and a quite diverse panel to deep dive into this topic. I'll mention who they are, and then I'll request them to briefly introduce themselves. So first up, we have Divya Kalra, who is the Analytics Solutions Leader at Amplify Analytix. Divya, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Alapon, for a great introduction and the great introduction of the topic. Hello, everyone. I'm Divya. I have 18 years of experience in analytics. I have worked in consulting. I have worked in organizations like Philips, Target, then I worked in Genpact. So I have cut across all the domains of analytics, be it healthcare, retail, credit risk, and supply chain analytics, manufacturing analytics. And I think I'm quite passionate about this topic because this is a question, as Alapon said just recently, that this is what is being asked, that, okay, you are doing analytics, but what is the ROI from that? So thank you, Alapon, for the introduction. Thank you. Looking forward to a very interesting panel and very interesting discussions.
Welcome. Next up, we have Sanchari Chakraborty. She's Program Manager for Data and Analytics in Birla Carbon. Sanchari.
Hi, all. Good morning. And yes, pretty interesting topic and a very important question, which is almost flying around everywhere, almost in every organization, that what is the ROI when you are running an analytics and AI initiative? Before that, yes, I'm Sanchari Chakraborty. I lead program management in Birla Carbon, Aditya Birla Group. Almost a bit a decade in the industry. My experiences around manufacturing with Siemens, Tata's, and then Aditya Birla Group here. It's awesome, Saturday discussion we will have today. And thank you so much, Alapon, for the introduction. And yes, looking forward.
Next, we have Manoj Mishra. Manoj is Principal Architect in Persistent Systems. Welcome, Manoj. Could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Manoj Mishra. Overall, 25 years of experience in data and analytics field, out of which I have worked for around 7 years in UK and UAE. For remaining 18 years, I have been heading data engineering practices, data management practices, and data science practices for organizations like Adobe Systems, Dell, and Pero Systems. I have helped setting up their data practices from scratch and also build strong performing teams. Um, I have also identified and implemented very strong business use cases that has helped adding millions of dollars to the profitability every year. And I'm really excited, Alapon, for the discussion today and really looking forward to it.
And finally, we have our amazing panelist, Avinash Narasimha. Avinash is data analytics and AI leader at Koch Industries. Avinash, would you say a few words about yourself?
Sure. Hey, everyone. Excited to be here. I come with around 2 decades of experience in data and analytics. Spent around last 18 years in just 2 companies, 5.5 in the current one. I'm accountable for delivering AI solutions for a variety of use cases. Whatever we call as enterprise AI is what we do. We build models, we deploy it, and we scale it. We do a lot of traditional AI on the manufacturing, supply chain, commercial. Of late, I've been doing a lot of Gen AI use cases for finance and HR. It's been an exciting space. Of course, the topic is very relevant. So excited and looking forward to the discussion.
Fabulous. Welcome you all again, and I'm super keen to kind of hear your perspectives. You've got a lot of experience and a very diverse experience, so I think that'll make the discussion really rich. So diving straight on, I will start with you, Avinash. So at a high level, what does impact from AI really mean? And can you talk to us about a few examples of where AI has created a deep impact?
Sure. I mean, the impact can be looked at through very different lenses, right? So one simple way to look at it is really what kind of hard savings and soft savings that we're really uh, deriving from whatever we do, right? So soft savings could be, enhanced experience, improved employee morale, efficient processes, managing risk, employee safety, for example, or people working at the plants, their safety is extremely important. Hard savings is really where we have a clear dollar impact, right? It could be either at a top line growth level or operational efficiencies, which helps your bottom line. So some of the work we do on the manufacturing really is to ensure that we have our machines running, our manufacturing plants running without any breakdowns. So we've installed thousands of IoT sensors across the manufacturing plants. For one of the Coke businesses, we have around 160 manufacturing plants, and we're getting terabytes of data every day, which we process. It feeds into the machine learning models, and it gives insights to the people at the plant. So the plant operator, supervisor are getting real-time insights as to what's happening in their processes, in their machines, in their entire manufacturing system. So the one way to measure some of this is really is reduced downtime, improved quality of the products you manufacture. There's a new way of thinking where plant supervisors come in every day. The data tells them where they have to spend time versus the old-fashioned way of, hey, today is Saturday, I'm going to go check these 5 machines. It's completely changed the way they look at things, they look at processes. So it's very efficient the way we look at it. And of course, it's also helped us create a very safe environment for our people working at our plants. So the way we've made these investments is really thinking from a lens of creating a competitive edge for the business. So those are some of the examples, and it all conceptually it's called preventive maintenance, predictive breakdowns, asset health, reliability. All those phrases are being used in the manufacturing side.
Wonderful. Great to hear that, Avinash. Manoj, from your experience, would you like to add something? Particularly keen to hear about your perspective from your background in financial services.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, whatever we can see, I mean, a lot of impact right now on almost all the application areas that we can see from AI. However, for me, the most important things are particular, I mean, the impact on a specific area or the business outcome or the society as a whole. I mean, and it depends on what use case you are utilizing your AI in. Uh, I mean, it may increase the productivity, it may increase the accuracy, it can change the job market. I mean, we can see last month I was busy in hiring a team of data annotation engineers for one of our clients. So I can see the impact that how the job market is changing. The roles that earlier were like um, very relevant, all of a sudden we can see a different type of role coming in. So I mean, the impact is almost everywhere. I mean, but then the AI that we are in today, it's a very nascent stage, Alapon. I mean, we are yet to see, uh, the stages wherein we can have artificial general intelligence or the self-aware super intelligent systems which can help mankind to achieve, I think, uh, technical advancement of 200 years in one single year. So bigger impacts are yet to be seen. However, currently we can see that um, vision, NLP, these are some of the, uh, or maybe Chat GPT. These are some of the LLMs. These are some of the impactful areas right now with the current stage of AI that I can see as evident.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj. And I think you rightly mentioned that it's evolving. There are lots of newer things which are coming up, right? Where
Right.
even testing and measurement could be probably at its early stages. But however, as a practice, there have been connected areas which has been there for a very long time, and that kind of leads me to my next question, and for which I'll go to Sanchari and start with you. Um, Analytics, data science, automation, whatever garb you put this in, right? It has been in the industry for now at least 20, 25 years plus.
Yes.
By now, do we have some evidence of some of the common metrics that we can actually use in the industry to measure the impact of this work?
Yes, I think yes, Alapon. So since now we are talking about analytics and AI for a longer time, right? And different industries, as you have rightly introduced, that now in AI is in banking, in finance, and then in manufacturing, in customer service, and service industries, in pharmas, in medicals, everywhere. So individual business and work streams have defined, and the major common metrics which I see around is around increase of sales or increased revenue. You can talk about cost optimization or cost savings. There is enhanced business intelligence, improved process or improved workflow, process efficiency, we call it out in manufacturing. Then the productivity boost, which is there in pharma and in medical industry. Another part is the personalized customer experience, which we look around in fashion, or the customer satisfaction. Then the competitive advantage, which we get, the edge around, against your rivals. And see, what I personally also feel is job creation and transformation. So there is a notion in the in market that AI is something which is making a lot of roles redundant. It is not exactly making roles redundant, but also creating new ones, and also actually transforming a lot of roles as well. Okay, and that is something which is overall, if you go and see, look around the data, it is actually creating positive impact overall in the industry. So with those matrices, if we just frame it in a collective place, there are a common comprehensive view on impact, which industry can apply as a metric in their value wheel around AI and analytics.
That's really cool, and I think that's a really refreshingly different take. The impact of AI is not about job losses. In fact, it leads to skill development. And one metric could be actually the number of new opportunities that we are starting to see get created, right? Which is a directly measurable area. So which is really cool. Thank you. We'll probably come back to you.
Can I add a comment here, Alapon?
Go for it, Avinash.
Yeah, I think what she mentioned is really interesting. And in fact, I had seen an article recently by Gartner, which said that
Yes.
the software engineering, we need more software engineers than ever before. And the paradox used was called Jevons paradox. Anything that gets cheaper, better, faster doesn't really reduce the number of requirement in terms of, we won't need lesser software engineers because co-pilots have come and writing code, but in fact we will need more of it. And one good example was really the LED lights, right? When long back we used to use all those lighting which used to get burnt out pretty quickly. LED lights came in, the life was longer, but that really made a big market for itself, right? So usage, the consumption grew significantly higher. And likewise, roles get redefined, and we may need more people, in fact, as things get better and better.
Yeah, so now the requirement is skilled, digitally skilled or digitally savvy people, which is a net positive impact, which is something, the Gartner also kind of evaluated. So yeah, it's a very nice view of, impact of AI and some common metric which organization can have.
Yes, I think we've also seen this new roles coming out like data product owner. So
Yeah.
earlier this was never, because AI is nothing without the data. So the data is the foundation. So yeah, in fact, a great perspective, Sanchari and Manoj both for sharing.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Really good. So now that we know that there are some key measures in place which we can go after, Manoj, I'll come back to you. Can you shed some light on what are some of the common approaches or frameworks even that you might have experienced to actually measure some of these impact?
So I can broadly, convert it into user impact, business impact, and revenue impact. So, I mean, I would like to take an example of something which we have implemented for, one of the insurance company. So I was working with the Union Insurance basically, and we implemented fraud analytics for its health claim department. What the model was doing is that it was finding the anomalies and the outliers depending on the historical data, and it was empowering our claim team with the red flags, basically insights to take action on. And then claim team was actually looking at that data, and then they were going back to the providers. Providers means the hospitals or the doctors, to ask tough questions that why, this specific scenario came, why this is anomaly is evident. So in most of the cases, our claim team actually got the money back. I mean, they got the collections of $1 million throughout the year. What we actually did at the time of deploying this specific solution, that we empowered our claim team with a system in which every time a claim was settled and the money was returned to them, they could make an entry. And that has helped us over a period of throughout the year to check what that exactly case was. And it was a confirmed case of a fraud because there was a money, a revenue was given back. or adjusted. So it was a confirmed case of fraud or misuse of service or abuse of service. And this created a list for us to go through and check what exactly, how much was the impact getting created. So apart from the all technical aspects, this actually helped us a lot in terms of reviewing, okay, uh, what exactly is the dollar value. Because if you look at any AI project, it is, apart from just being a research project, it is actually being treated as an engineering project. So people would ask questions on how much value you got in, how much value you invested, what is the cost and benefit analysis. So also, so this is something that I would like to share, that has helped us a lot in implementing.
Yeah, wonderful. So in cases where we have those specific opportunities, like you mentioned, that there is you can actually track the workflow at a claim level. When you have a unit like that, one should be looking at ways to kind of put the measurement at that unit level, so that we can then aggregate it at any point in time and across different areas. Awesome. Avinash, I know you are also very, very passionate about this space and you've got a lot of experience in doing this. So anything you'd like to add on top of what Manoj mentioned?
Yeah, it's a very tricky topic and CFO's favorite, right? So historically, what we did is we said, hey, if you do all these things, we execute the project, we give you the solution, it's going to create ABCD value. It's all assumptions made by us, constraints. We consider everything. We just made the best judgment. But once delivered, there's always questions as to where the value is. Is it really reflecting on your balance sheet? Which is still a question, by the way. It's still not completely addressed, to be honest. So one shift, one big change we did is we started connecting with the CFO organization before we start the project, right? So we go to them, we tell them, look, this is the executive sponsorship we have, this is the problem we are solving, and we believe this is a value. Why don't you share your thoughts? So they got actively involved, and it was three groups triangulated, right? The CFO office, the business office, and us, trying to derive the value. So there is acknowledgement of there's articulation and acknowledgement that it could create value. So that's one good step, because it also meant that there is sponsorship from both the offices, which was very, very critical. And the other question we started to ask is, whatever we build, can it go to production? Was a critical question we asked, because now most of what we do actually goes to prod. So if that's not there, then it usually is as good as an experiment or just somebody trying to do it manually, and scaling becomes a challenge. So these are the two things that we did differently. And in terms of how we capture the ROI or the value, is really thinking of it through the lens of value drivers. Like you said, if you are able to articulate it at a unit cost at an aggregate, then there could be multiple value drivers that we could derive from any solution that we deploy. Uh, so some examples could be value revenue growth, sales growth, top line growth, operational efficiencies. It could be coming through cost reduction or cost avoidance. You are managing risk, increased NPS, employee safety, and even employee morale. So key is that you have to track it, right? It's not just deploying a model in prod, but then when people start to use the model, take actions on that, you really have to track the before versus after. Only then you will realize what change we are making in the process of the business. That's how I think of it, Alapon.
Fabulous. And I think that's definitely one of the disciplines I believe a lot of companies are now actively putting in place, and I think it really will help the case. I'll just change the scenario a little bit. There are initiatives and projects where we do not really have a clear deployment step. I'm talking about this vast space where we do lots of insights, lots of analysis, lots of models, where what we end up getting is an output or a recommendation or that that then becomes a part of a broader chain of things which are going on. Divya, I know you're very, very well versed with this space. You've done it for many years. So in cases such as this, how do we measure the impact of these types of insights? Your thoughts?
Sure, Alapon. Great question. And yes, so I think just to build on to what Avinash said in the previous question, that we really work with businesses for large-scale deployments. We really work with businesses and the CFOs on what KPIs will get impacted. And even before we start on analytics, and if we are lucky, if we do not see an impact, we don't even invest. Now, coming to the challenging part that you said, that for the smaller insights, smaller analysis, what is it and how is it that we capture? So, typically, what we have started doing is we look at the adoption, we look at for these smaller reports. What was that confidence? What was the confidence in the decision making? We go to the stakeholders who have asked for this analysis. How is this analysis being used? While we have given you an insight in the recommendation, did it help you for, let's say, I think building on, there are a lot of metrics that are being talked about. Let's say Sanchari said on the campaign, on the uplift in revenue, pre and post the decision making. So it is a little bit of challenging, but it's not impossible. So the businesses and the stakeholders, whoever are requesting for this analysis, should have an equal skin in the game if they are asking for a KPI or for an analysis to be built, right? What are they really looking at? And as analytics practitioners and as AI practitioners, it becomes our equal responsibility to play the challenger supporter role, that okay, you are looking at this, but how about if you also look at this KPI? How about if this report can also be made in this form? For example, I'll just give you an example that we're working with a leading manufacturing company, and there we are sort of building a dashboard or building a front end on their warehouse capacity analysis. Now, they have given us some visuals that please work on this. We need this data together. The data right now is all scattered in the ERP systems. But then we sort of play a challenger supporter role. Okay, you are doing this, but why are you doing this? Then they go back to the drawing board. Oh, we don't want to be in the rat race, right? We are doing this because we want to optimize our warehouses. Or right now, our warehouses are scattered across, which makes supply chain very difficult to manage. So we are doing this to understand what is the efficiency of our warehouses, what are those consolidation efforts that we can do. So that is so the crux, or I would like to just conclude by saying that for these smaller initiatives, we have to have the business stakeholders involved. We will deliver the analysis, but at the same time, we have to keep on following up with them, that how did this particular initiative help you? Or was it just a report that was looked at and discarded? So yeah, that's it from my side.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I think just a couple of builds, and right, I'll let you respond to that if that makes sense. Is, what if we end up putting a little bit of product science on top of this, right? So for instance, and this is exactly in the space that you talked about, can I get some usage reports, right? If
Correct.
something is being sent on a monthly basis, or it's getting generated on a weekly basis, do we know how many people have even opened them? Because initially there was a lot of excitement that I want this, I want that, right? I want these 20 different metrics, right? Let's just look at, right, who's actually reading them.
Correct.
I think there are also interesting thought experiments that can be done. So for instance, if we were to go back after providing these reports and actually genuinely have a discussion, that now that you've seen it for 3 months, right, what if we do not run this and stop giving it? Will it impact your business? Will it impact your decision making? It shouldn't come across as a threat. but it should genuinely come across as something to enable the business further. And actually, I do think there's a genuine area where question like this can improve actually the report, because we could even think about really pulling out the key aspects of it. When there is nothing actionable, there's nothing new, somebody doesn't really need to absorb that information, versus, if there's an outlier, something which is worth talking about being picked out. And these things can be done, of course, right, with generative AI and a host of algorithms. I think it just becomes more interesting, and it becomes more central in that decision making. Right.
Actually, yeah, Alapon, just to add, I think, correct. So with the reporting thing, once you run it for a quarter, the next question to the business users has to be that, apart from hygiene, what more you are getting from that report? What decision you are making from that report? Is it only hygiene? If it is only hygiene, then again it should go back to the team who actually build up, so that it has to be more user interactive and intuitive. But if it is not only hygiene, something more they're using it, then yes, there is an ROI to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just to sort of add on a very interesting topic. So we also heard this from one of our stakeholders, that I have a lot of data. The factories or the site plant managers are still depending on firefighting. They like to do that. So how can I use this data to enable them, right? So we sort of built a wireframe, showed them that this is what is the art of the possible. How will it affect your decision making? Does it help you? Does it not help you? And if they say, no, it doesn't help me, it is an extra burden for me, then we will stop it there. But it's really that we show the art of the possible, prove the value first, and then start working backwards. Because I think that is where the some industries are still there in their AI maturity curve.
Yes. And I think a call to action is actually clean all of these things up, right? Because there is a lot of redundant, I shouldn't say redundant, but there's a lot of there's a lot of volume of matrix and data and reports and things like that, which has originated in different functions over a course of time, and they've become almost legacy artifacts that need to be rationalized. And I think our field can absolutely play a role, and that itself is the value impact, right?
Yeah.
So short-term reports, short-term analysis. I think we have an idea now. What about some of the more long-running projects, related to investments in R&D and longer-term experimentation? How do we keep track of impact being made in such cases? Is it possible to do it? Avinash, we'll come back to you and grab your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one to solve, because you, at one side, you do want to make investments on AI. You want to see how it will transform your business, but then you're also extremely cautious on the cost that you incur. So two things come to mind. One is just be agile, right? Whatever methodologies work, agile, Scrum, I think adopt that, and adopt an experimentation mindset, right? POCs, MVPs, whatever works. Figure out how we can go fast, and also adopt a fail fast approach. Figure out the levers of value, figure out the adoption rate, which I think some of Divya talked about, Sanchari talked about. One way to look at the impact can be through the lens of cost, risk, and value, right? What is the cost of the experiment? What kind of technology costs are we taking on? Cloud, LLMs, platforms, infra, people costs, right? And the risk, second is the risk, right? What is the one question which people have to ask is, what happens if we don't do it, right? There's always a need to go do it, but the question also should be what happens if we don't do it. So what's the risk of not doing it? Of course, what are the regulatory overhangs, ethical AI, fairness, compliance? So those are the risk-related factors we could think of. And then the value drivers, which I talked about. And then, is it really worth it? What's the ROI kind of question, right? Will it create a competitive edge? What is our vision? Why are we doing it? Some of those questions come to mind. That helps us shape some of the spending. And also, if we don't have the right leadership and talent to do it, we should acknowledge that and get help, right? There's a lot of biggies out there who can come and help us go fast very quickly. I think that should be the strategy, because if you don't do some of that, you are probably bleeding for a really long time.
Staying with you on that one, Avinash, you mentioned a critical point that what if we do not do it? Can you share some examples of that conversation happening in real? As an example, let's say any industry somebody's working in, or any company somebody's working in, doesn't today need cloud computing in a massive scale, or that at all, to be able to realize any benefits from what they're doing. But is it going to be the case in another 10 years, another 5 years? Are conversations like that happening, from what you know in either your space or in your network?
On the cloud specifically, it was just a very conscious choice to just go down the cloud path, and we really decommissioned a lot of our data centers also. So, but I'll give you another example where this came in, and it seems
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said cloud. I really meant quantum computing. Cloud computing
Sure.
is there, right? That's
Got
not
it.
a conversation anymore.
I think one incident I can think of is this on the manufacturing side. The value that we derived was really big, and that raised a lot of eyebrows and say, hey, how do you get to this value? So there's a lot of discussion with the CFO organization, business, manufacturing heads, and so the final answer was that if we don't do what we do today, you are going to incur this cost. So now, because you do all this is a value you're creating for the business. So then that's where the question comes: what happens if you don't do it? Is then there is a certain impact of not doing these things? Is the way to think of it. Sometimes a lot of folks want to do something because there is really a FOMO. Hey, I want to do AI. I want to do Gen AI. It's largely FOMO driven. But we just have to be careful that AI is not becoming a hammer looking for nails.
Wonderful. Great. So moving on from some of these hard benefits, are there non-quantified impact areas that we could think about when we are seeing this revolution of AI? We'll go to you, Divya, and grab your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, thanks, Alapon. Definitely, I think there are a lot of non-quantified the cultural impacts of AI. I just name a couple of them. So I think Sanchari, and in the beginning, she pointed out, Manoj, Avinash, all the panelists did point about the employee morale. So we see there is a shift in the decision making culture. So rather than employees wasting their time looking for information, like Avinash had mentioned earlier, that now when the plant manager or the site manager or the equipment operator comes in the morning, they know what are the top areas that they look at, rather than saying that, oh, Saturday, now these are the 10 things that we need to do. So they don't, they are really not wasting their time, and AI is really helping them with an easy access and data driven access to information which is based on scientific facts. So there is more reliance on data rather than gut instinct. And there was an article that I was reading from MIT. It was a BCG collab in MIT. So what that article cited is that business culture affects AI deployment, and and AI deployments affect business culture. And I think it was a sample of some 1,500 respondents, and 75% of them saw improvements in team morale, collaboration, collective learning. And AI also helped leaders identify new performance drivers. So we go back to that ROI point. Uh, that what is the ROI? So AI can also help identify those performance drivers. What are those objective measures that need to be covered? And of course, there are new areas of accountability. So uh, it is also helping organizations to become more competitive. And and so these are just to name a few. Of course, there is a lot of things. We are enabling people, we are enabling processes, technologies. So yes, indeed, there are a lot of non-quantified impacts of AI.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I have noticed is if we play this right, lot of non-traditional functions are getting closer to data. When I say non-traditional, in the sense that where the use of data is like more recent, use of matrix is more recent, because I think with the help of some of these tools and some of these insights reports, some of these chat bots, practitioners are able to very quickly grab information which they would have spent a lot of time doing. So in that manner, they're doing it more and more, and this is also leading to certain new skills being developed, a new way of doing things. Of course, that leads to finally you being fast, but I think there's a cultural element of newer practices almost seeping in. So I think that is really, really interesting.
Yeah.
So
Alapon, I just sorry. Go ahead, Sanchari. Go ahead, please.
Thanks, Divya. Sorry for the interruption. But another big thing which I think which we will never be able to quantify is that with data and AI coming into place, a lot of historians are now getting recorded in a very nicer way with a proper view. So, for example, and I'll again come to manufacturing, because I have seen a lot of those things around. There were a lot of operators who used to carry a lot of information with their experience, like they were there for 20-25 years, and they know that, okay, if this is a sound, if there is a sound in this machine, okay, then I need to oil it, or I need to get this switch, I need to go and switch it off or something. And they might not write anywhere, or they might be telling someone that, I know this, and he will be the champion of that particular operation. And I remember that when we had I was with Siemens, and we just started working with these SCADA and HMI and the PLC loops. We started actually doing the health checkup of those machines, and the asset reliability specifically of the CNC machine. And a lot of historians started getting recorded. And it is not it's not all about depending on someone. Maybe the operator is always there, but at least and you get a very valid health data of that particular machine, or the particular equipment, and which is something a strategic investment of that organization. So those impact, those long term, maybe it can be calculated in terms of numbers, but I think it is more than that. The culture shift slowly, which actually the overall industry is seeing with the advent of AI, it is not only in terms of only certain dollar figures. I think it's a bigger impact, which I would rather say cultural impact rather.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
cool. Yeah, just I mean, we can probably like just stay on this endlessly, because this is like really, really so interesting. And we would, but I think just kind of moving on to thinking about the newer approaches. And talking about newer approaches, the one that obviously comes to our mind is generative AI, right? This is a huge shift which is happening. So imagine where we have been in the last 20 years, and then imagine a space where we are doing a lot of work with generative AI. In the light of the shift, the way we measure impact itself, do you think that'll change? The way the impact of AI, is that going to be more? Is that going to be diminished? What's your take on that, Avinash? And after Avinash, I'll also come to you, Manoj, for your perspective.
Sure. I mean, the answer is it depends. Like I said, if AI becomes a hammer looking for nails, then yes, it's a very challenging path you're on. But if you have clear strategy on why you should be using Gen AI, clear sponsorship, identify the right use cases, and thinking of this whole thing as a journey than just saying, hey, I'm going to give you XYZ money and give me 10x of that, then that's going to be a very challenging path, right? So I think thinking of this as a long-term strategic bet is one way to do it, and that also ensures long-term success, and it could create significant competitive advantage as well. One of the professors of University of Austin, he's an AI professor teaching AI for a really long time. He said the disruption pyramid will be across three different phases, right? One is really your basic things that most of the industry is doing. You put a lot of documents, data, and then you create a chatbot, search on it. That will be your first level of disruption. Second is really your AI workflows, right? That's where the agents come in. You are enabling chat, but you're also taking an action which the humans would do originally. So you're kind of automating it to a great extent. That's your AI agents. The third is really change in business models. So AI starts to influence the way you operate, the way you sell, the way you build. That just creates a significant competitive advantage. So if it's done right with a lot of things in place, Alapon, it will be successful. But when I talk to some of the folks in the industry, they're still trying to convince the business to invest in a Gen AI use case. That also sometimes could mean that either businesses don't believe that it creates value, or we may not be having the right conversation. That's my take.
Manoj?
I think, business would always be like that. They would like to see the hard benefits out of doing something. Otherwise, why they would invest money in? I think we as leaders into this industry, we need to make sure that we shouldn't be doing something for the sake of doing it. We shouldn't implement AI for the sake of implementing it. I think finding the right use case is the most important thing. The example that I was quoting for implementing an specific AI product for the insurance company, that the effort was hardly a couple of months, but the impact that it created on the business, that was enormous. So I think the Gen AI coming into the picture, coming into the play, the return of investment will be manifold because the productivity of the employees will get increased. And there are encoders, decoders, LLMs that you can probably use for different use cases. But however, Gen AI right now, how much we have, it is very specific purpose that you can use. It cannot be used for any general purpose AI. So we are yet to wait for some time to see the real benefit or impact from the AI when a machine or computer starts learning something on its own, or maybe any generic thing that it can learn, not necessarily the natural language or specific vision. So we have yet to see that impact coming in, but it will increase definitely.
Cool. I feel like we have a spirit of adventure in this, in terms of stepping forward and seeing what we are discovering on a day-to-day basis. So talking about adventure, let's move on to actually the people who are going to be involved in the adventure, right? This vast community of data scientists, AI engineers, researchers, and all of that. One of my questions is, can we understand the impact of AI and the work being done in this space at a team or an individual level? And is there a way to sort of drive that understanding to push up the inspiration of the team? I know a lot of us are working with the teams on a day-to-day basis, ourselves included, in the space to sort of do this work, right? So I'll come to you, Divya, to hear your thoughts on that. And I think, Sanchari, you'd be also quite passionate to share some of your perspectives. So we'll go to you for that.
Sure. Thanks, Alapon. I think I'll go first, Sanchari, if that's okay.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, Alapon, this is indeed a very tough one. That how do we attribute? One is, of course, I think from the distinguished panelists we've heard that how do we get the ROI for the initiative, whether it's an LLM or it's an AI enabled initiative, how do we get it? But how do we cascade it to the team is something very very sort of tricky. It's sort of walking on a thin line. So one thing that we try to sort of do is that we I know only AI will not do anything, or like Avinash said, that the data is being shown to the site operators or the line operators. If they don't take an action, it is like nothing. So then there is always a tussle, or it's like a tug of war between the businesses and the analytics COE, that who really gets that ROI, where is that ROI coming. So generally what we do is, first of all, we align with the business that this is a AI enabled impact for you. Let's say we agree with the stakeholders that AI enabled impact is some X% of the total impact, and then we cascade it to the teams that are working on it to say that what is the value generation that each of us, each of the data scientists, the data engineer, the whole team is doing. But it really has to be aligned by the business, and there is no one short calculation saying that AI enabled is 20%, 30%, and because three people are working, so it's 20 divided by three. So it just has to be closely aligned with the business, the CFO organization, that what is it that AI has brought on the table? Because ultimately, 3 years, 5 years down the line, like Manoj was mentioning, he has set up team. This question is going to be asked, that what is the value that your team is bringing on the table? So uh, there is no cut short formula, but just to conclude and say that we agree, align with the leadership that this is AI enabled, it's some X percentage of whatever metric is, and then we just cascade it down to the team. So that's how we work, because it's easier, and we don't want to also at the same time over engineer it. So Sanchari, if you have any inputs, please feel free to share.
Actually, great perspective, Divya, and thanks, Alapon, for pulling me into this question. So I'll go a bit, backwards. So first and foremost, where we start is that AI initiatives are intertwined with the organization initiatives. It is nowhere different. Any AI initiatives which is created in an organization, either to solve a complex problem which is unsolved in the past, or to enhance anything for the future of the organization, either for enhancements or solving the past problems. So this is one first thing which we try to first define as problem statement, and it is not about a AI dependent team, or only the AI team will be doing. What we call it majorly here is fusion team. It is more of like one AI practitioner, and I'll not also highlight it as a data engineer or a data scientist, but one AI practitioner also kind of have in their team a process engineer, finance controller, or whomsoever relevant for an initiative, and the entire team works on an initiative. In that way, what we have seen and what we have gained is that digital savvy assets, the digital champions of the organization. And whatever initiatives we have actually till date we have looked into, or we have worked, or we are working, it is more than the only tangible KPIs. There are intangible KPIs, we have chalked it out on that. And apart from only measuring and monitoring and tracking the AI team members or the AI metrics, we have started tracking the KPIs and deliverables. And for that matter, there were challenges which we have in that journey we have faced, we have addressed through relevant meetings. And somewhere it is more like changing the ways of working, or enabling the entire organization to adopt a new ways of working. So it's a perspective where we kind of made ourselves firm that AI is not away or different from the organization's interest or the organization's future success. It is more like integrated into that. So it is not individual one team, it is overall team who need to support to get all the initiatives adopted. So we have measured the ROIs through KPI deliverables and the timelines. And not only in terms of numbers, which we call it as tangible benefits, we have measured the intangible benefits as well, which is the long-term benefits. So yeah, that's our perspective and take on the ROI of the AI practitioners of the industry.
Thank you, Sanchari, and thank you, Divya. Before that, I think I'm sure many people have the question, and it's really good to get that expert view on it. I think we have talked about different areas, and we will wrap this up. I'll try to summarize in my own way this massive amount of insights that we've got in the last few minutes, and almost coming up to an hour. So we talked about different types of impact. We talked about hard, soft impact. We talked about the impact on society. We talked about the impact on job market of AI. Then we moved on to talking about matrix and a value wheel. We got into this very interesting area where we could think about even job creation opportunities as one of the matrix, other than some of the standard ones that you could think about on cost, revenues, etc. We talked about different approaches and frameworks in terms of measuring the impact of AI. We talked about the role of value drivers. We talked about alignment involving the finance organization or the CFO in some of these projects early on, to make sure that things are on track and there's no disagreement later on about the impact measurement. We looked at short-term projects and the challenges of trying to bring out value from insight reports. We discussed about how we need to keep that conversation alive, have a back and forth, understand the usage stats around it, understand what could be some of the enhancements possibilities. And then we moved on to the other side of looking at the longer term projects, research projects, how to understand what's the benefit from doing that. We had a very interesting take where we are asking the question, if we do not invest in this type of R&D, what will be the impact of it? Almost like looking at it from a risk standpoint. We touched on the non-quantified, e.g., almost like the cultural aspects of the impact of AI, whether that's moral, whether that's recording some of the data of facts and expertise, which used to be carried in the heads of individuals, but now we have documents and we have access to some of that knowledge. What else did we touch on? We talked about the impact of shifting onto the world of generative AI from AI. And obviously, this is very tricky. We acknowledge that. And I think we come back to the fact that we need to have a clear strategy. We need to have a clear vision. And we need to be very sure about the use cases that we are going ahead with before we are able to drive impact from it. We talked about measurement of this at a team and an individual level. And I think every one of us are in agreement that it's never going to be an isolated impact. This is a team play. We need to get that alignment. AI definitely is a part of everything that we are doing as an organization. So hence, it really enables rather than sit on its own and claim a big value. I don't think that should be the approach. I think that was really interesting. We will close. Just before we do that, I'll just go to you and just get maybe a 30-second bite on your last thoughts on the topic. We will start with Divya.
Yeah. I think Alapon very, very well summed up. Great discussion. I'll just take 30 seconds. So I will say that deriving business impact and ROI from AI hinges on aligning AI solutions with strategic goals and ensuring scalability and continuously measuring value through well-defined KPIs. So that is the sum of the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Divya. Sanchari, to you next.
Thank you, Alapon, for summing up the overall discussion. It's an awesome discussion. Thank you all for actually participating and giving a lot of insights. I was looking forward to that. Just one sentence, maybe within 30 seconds, is that AI is one thing which is innovation and future looking. It will be only done when everybody is adopting it. We have actually started doing it in our regular life as well. I think everybody are using a lot of GPT, smartwatches. Everybody is using data around for themselves, for their own health. I think we should start doing that overall in the organization and as per the business perspective. Thanks.
Manoj?
It was really good and engaging discussion, Alapon and everyone. One thing which I would like to add here is that when we think of implementing any AI use case, apart from all other metrics, one metrics we should also look at is ethical and fairness metrics. Like, I mean, the data that we are using, it is an important aspect to look at whether there are biases. Maybe there are ways to do it. You can maximize the minority class or minimize the majority class, and also make the model explainable. So like there has been a lot of challenges with banking systems to use AI because the model was not explainable and there were legal aspects to it. So it should be explainable. So I think making the bias detection system and making the model explainable is something that I would like to add in terms of the important metrics for implementing AI.
Over to you, Avinash.
Hey, this was a fantastic discussion and great perspectives. So one couple of things is just don't do AI for the sake of AI. Don't fall into the FOMO mindset, and don't make AI your hammer looking for nails.
Thank you, Avinash, and thank you, everybody. This was really fantastic, and to everybody, as you can see, this group is like really passionate about the topic. So the conversation is far from over. If you have any questions later on, you should feel free to reach out to any one of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.